Welcome in to another week of Yellow Jacket football. I'm Kate Crenshaw, joined alongside Allen head football coach Teddy Keaton. Coach now 6-1 on the season, fresh off of a 39-27 victory over Albany State. You ruined homecoming for Albany State on Saturday. What were some of your takeaways from one of the biggest wins since restarting the program?
I was really proud of my kids. You know, it's very difficult to go into somebody's, on the road with a perennial powerhouse that Albany State is. They're a good football team. They got that dirty blue defense, and our kids just went out and played resilient. They executed in all phases of the game. Yes, of course there were some mistakes there, but they overcame those mistakes and they did some things, and it's tough to do on the road. And I think they did a great job.
You always talk about starting fast in that first quarter. 24 plays brought you 18 points. What allowed that early success in the first quarter on Saturday?
We've been practicing it. We've been talking about we got to get off to a fast start. We'll walk back from Central State to Clark to we get to here. We started off in the second quarter scoring points. We got to do a better job of executing on our opening drives, doing a little bit better job of planning. And I took that personal as the coach. We need to do a better job of getting stops and not creating, self-inflicted wounds for ourselves and give our offense a chance to be able to be who they are.
Going on the ground game, that was big on Saturday, was establishing that early. And you had 4 rushing touchdowns as a team on Saturday across 4 different players. How critical is it as the season has gone on to continue establishing that run game to pair with the prolific passing offense?
I think that in order for you to become a great team, you got to be able to run the ball to win championships. You got to be able to run it and throw it. And I think we're in a world now where I think it helps with the time of possession. I think it slows down the game a little bit. I don't want to be so one-dimensional that you got to depend on one guy, that if he loses, and I think that comes back to last season when we got in a situation where we didn't really focus a lot of attention on running the football, and David goes down. Now we got a quarterback that can't throw as prolific as David can, and he get in the ball game, and now we're one-dimensional. So last year in the offseason, we made it a vow, and we married ourselves to we're going to focus in on our run game. We're going to hone in on how to get it to be what it need to be, and it's still not where we want it to be, but it's close enough that we're doing some good things to establish ourselves as a running team too.
In the air on Saturday, David Wright, 295 passing yards, 136 of that to Armand Harris, 2 former high school teammates connecting there. Armand at one point a one-handed touchdown catch, one of 2 touchdowns he scored on Saturday. How have you watched that translate for them? They both come here from Tampa Bay Tech in Florida, and initially Armand redshirts his freshman season, sits behind the scenes, learns in the film room, and now he's been one of the go-to targets each of the last 2 seasons. How is that prior chemistry playing out in the field?
Well, I think Armand's like a coach. Armand's probably one of the best route runners that you probably could see in college football. He can run really good routes. He knows what to do. He understands what to sit down in the defense. And sometimes he gets a little too cute with us. He comes in and he tries to tell us what we need to do. But I appreciate everything he brings to the table and the value. And in terms of him and David having the chemistry, I think they work on that every day. We work different drills, different things that allow them to have that type of success. We have other receivers that do a really good job of trying to work in there. Dre, as you can imagine, they've all kind of gelled together. Moon, those guys have done a really good job of working together. But it's very rare that you have 4 receivers that can play, and Armand being one of the top, him and Dre. Those 2 guys just add value, and I think the other 2 or 3 that are really there, they're just adding value with them.
The offense will take the headlines most times, but then on the defensive side of the football, defense wins championships a lot of the times, and on Saturday your defense played extremely well. Let's start with Caleb Pierce. We knew going in that Albany State, a team that had won 4 straight games going into Saturday, wanted to establish their run game early on as well. Caleb Pierce was big down in the trenches, your D tackle. The team had 9 tackles on Saturday. How impactful was he?
I think Caleb makes an impact every week. I think Sherman needs to, buy him lunch because Caleb's play over there has pushed a lot of plays to Sherman, and he's made a lot of plays on the run. The decision that we made to make Caleb back a D lineman, which when we bought him here, we let him play linebacker, and I think that we thought he was a little too small to be down in the trenches, and he got down there and he felt comfortable, and it shows every weekend he's comfortable at that spot. That's what he do. I guess he it's natural to him.
We talk about younger players maybe redshirting early on in their careers and then now playing big-time roles for you. And you look at Art Edmond down the defensive line as well. Coach, only 2 tackles on Saturday, but they were both sacks, including a forced fumble and fumble recovery at one point where he tackled the quarterback and just pushed him aside with one arm to pick up the football. How has that development been so important for him to continue working in the weight room and allowing his successes here in 2023?
Well, Art played outside, tackle. He played tackle last year, and Coach Cole came to me and said we need to make a decision about putting Art inside at the nose. And I'm like, I don't know. He's never played nose. And then you told me to take a linebacker and put him at D-line, that he came here to play linebacker, but he was an original D-line. And I think all the transition has just worked out well. I think Coach Cole and his wisdom and his, thought process of why he did what he did. And I think that Art's having as much success as he needs to have, doing what he's doing and buying into that role of moving positions that he's played mostly his life as an outside defensive linebacker. But the day he goes in the inside, he's done a really good job. And they need to buy Caleb lunch because of Caleb's play, it's pushing plays to Sherman and Art.
On the outside edge, Justin Eaton with an interception on Saturday. And, Coach, I'm sure on the sidelines you sort of held your breath for a moment because after Justin caught the interception and just as soon as he was going to get tackled, he pitched it over to Kevin Graham running down the sidelines. Is that ever something you've ever practiced? Was ever in the game plan of, hey, if you ever get a pick, try to find an open teammate to toss it aside? Or was that just Justin recognizing an opportunity and capitalizing?
No, Justin recognizing an opportunity to capitalize. We tell guys, get down, especially people like him that can't run fast. Get down, just you intercepted the ball, have a great day, and get down, and let's reset the downs.
Well, another play that wasn't on my bingo card going into Saturday on the special teams unit. Sidi Bajang kickoff in the second half that went straight at an Albany State defender and bounced right back to him. Coach, a lucky kick and a lucky bounce back that you guys were able to recover. As you go into special teams, you were telling me a little bit earlier, that was intended to be a squib-style kick. When you go into those type of situations, what are you looking at? And obviously that wasn't in the game plan to kick it off of one of their players and back. The likelihood of that happening is extremely low, but obviously it worked in your favor.
Zero is a prolific player. He's a great wide receiver. He's a great. So we wanted to keep the ball out of his hands. You talk about a guy that could do everything for them. So we said we was going to squib the ball down there. Hopefully one of the up backs pick it up and we play good defense. And so this go round, CD, I guess lined up and was going to kick it. And when he kicked it, the guy just stepped in the way of the ball and hit him in his helmet, and the ball bounced back to us, and CD picks the ball up. It's a live ball, and it just turned out in our favor. But it was something that we had planned to do.
Allen, a 39-27 winner over Albany State on Saturday, now 6-1 on the season, the best start to a campaign since 1965. Well, Coach, as you look ahead to this upcoming Saturday, the challenge doesn't get any easier. Another perennial power, the word you used, as you have a road trip to Miles College on Saturday. What are you expecting from Miles? They're among the top teams in the conference.
Tough. They're tough. That's the Miles mantra. I left Miles to come here to become the head coach here. They're going to be tough. They're going to play fast. They're going to try to intimidate you. We're going into a hostile environment in Fairfield, Alabama. I'm very familiar with the territory. I'm very familiar with the type of players that they recruit there. Sam Shade has done a tremendous job in company. They're going to have a tough defense to be able to go against. And their offense, they got a great quarterback and 3 receivers that can get it done and a couple running backs that's not bad themselves. So, we're going to have our work cut out for us. And every week it's a new challenge. Every week we have to be honed in on what we came the assignment to do. Most people think it's all about the physicality of the game. It's also some mental preparation that got to go into that. And changing of environments, traveling back to back, all those different things makes that mindset has to be different. And let's go back to Albany State. And I told those guys, when you're able to go in and travel on the road and get wins on the road with good football teams, it's a measurement of your preparation, the things that you did in order for you to give yourself a chance to be successful. But you can't go in and turn the ball over, get the home crowd involved, the band involved. It's already homecoming. The scene is already happy. Everybody's there. It's like being at a 92,000 packed stadium. And once you get the home crowd involved in it, then it becomes a problem for you. And I think that our kids did a good job of starting fast and not letting them get a chance to hang around and making them have to always apply pressure to us.
One thing you mentioned there was the strong quarterback play. that Miles has. And as we look around the league, it feels like every team now has really strong quarterback play. But when you go into the history of the SIAC, majority of the league's perennial powers, we keep using that phrase, were built on strong running teams.
That's right.
How have you watched that evolve in the league? Is that just the evolution of the game? How has that transitioned things in the SIAC to heavy run-style teams to now really prolific passing offenses?
I think the world of college football. I think if you look around the country, back in the day, the SEC was all built off power running. I think the SWAC and everybody built off power running. Nowadays, if you saw as the West Coast offenses have evolved, a lot of teams went to a lot of spread RPOs, which has changed the makeup of college football in general and the type of athletes that you recruit. If you go back to all the 7-on-7 leagues and the different things that kids get to do and the offenses that kids want to play in, it has evolved, and we're slowly catching up with it in the SIAC, and everybody understands that these are the type of offenses that kids like to play in, and it's also a type of offense that fans want to see. Back in the day, you played 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Everybody was physical, the whole nine. Now, if you're not playing basketball on turf and the game ain't fast enough, you won't get fans to come watch it because they call it boring football.
Back in the day, Allen was one of the best teams in the SIAC, and history has tended to repeat itself once again. Allen 6-1 on the season. The Yellow Jackets will travel to Miles College this Saturday. Teddy Keaton, I'm Kay Crenshaw. That'll do it for us this week. We'll see you back here next time for more Yellow Jacket football.